To make you aware, this podcast will contain conversations around mental health and well-being and could include issues of a sensitive nature. This is a podcast from Torvine Talks CIC.
So Toto, we ain't in Kansas anymore. We're in the centre of Cardiff. Bit of a journey which actually started back earlier this year as part of an exhibition called You Don't Look Autistic. And today that's brought me to Cardiff Library because it has a launch here now for the next couple of weeks to the end of August that you can come along and see this exhibition for yourself. Let's go inside.
Hosting this photographic exhibition has been quite timely for Cardiff Council. But over the last year, we've been working to make Cardiff a neurodivergent-friendly city. Rachel from the neurodivergent-friendly Cardiff team is going to briefly mention some of the stuff that she's been working on.
Hearing then from some of the main people responsible for this exhibition in Cardiff Library till the end of August. Soon going to be catching up with Jade and also talking with Rosie, one of the other models on this exhibition.
Including me in the opportunity to have these discussions because I'm a project worker or project manager for neurodivergent-friendly Cardiff, and our aim is to try and bring all our partners on board to say what can we do to make Cardiff more neurodivergent aware and inclusive and affirming. So one of the key things is our public spaces, which is our hubs and libraries. And so this is great to have something here when we have members of the public walking in, we can have those discussions about neurodivergence and what it means to people, what their experiences are like, and what can we do to improve that experience when they visit our community spaces. And then we hope that that will have a ripple effect to lots of other partners and organisations as well, bring them on in a celebratory and inclusive manner. So as Riley said, we've got the launch of the public consultation for the draft strategy tomorrow, which is another big event, which we're excited about because it's like 18 months in working of drawing up the strategy. We hope in the new year we'll have a fully fledged strategy that Cardiff can commit to and support with its partners.
Yeah, Rewild today was set up a good few years ago by this lovely lady here. I'm just pointing at her there. This is the boss. And she set it up to make activities accessible and inclusive for any child that's got any additional needs, anything going on in their life that they might need a little outlet or extra support. So we were very fortunate to join in with Rewild and with the children. And it was through Rewild I found out, well it wasn't through Rewild, but it was being around, your kindred spirits, I found out that I had ADHD. And then after that I found out that I am also, I'm in a band, yes, and autistic. Yeah, so the whole project came about just a conversation with myself and my daughter about, well, I don't think I'm autistic, I don't look like that. And I said, well, what does it look like? We had a big conversation over what autistic people look like, what they can do, what jobs they have. And surprisingly, in this day and age, it was a bit of an eye-opener for her because there's still a lot of stigma and stereotypes attached to it, even in the primary school that she's surrounded with. The exhibition came about after that conversation to show that autism doesn't look like anything, it doesn't sound like anything. And the saying, you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. And we wanted to highlight the variety of hobbies and jobs and projects because, again, there are still so many stereotypes around autism in general. And I think perhaps we've all been there as neurodivergent people, either when we've been diagnosed or when we're coming to terms with things, that there's a bit of an imposter syndrome to think, oh well, I like this. So for me, for example, I like performing. I've always been on stage. That can't marry up because I don't mind being on stage or around everybody. But nobody knows what's going on in your head, how you're feeling, and what goes on in your own home before you get here. That was the main aim of the exhibition, was to say we've we've all got our own thing. We've all got our own brand of autism, whatever that means. And just to show young people, especially, that you can do and be whatever. This is a facet of your life. Things sometimes may be a bit more difficult for you, but you can reach for the stars and do whatever you fancy. So that was the idea behind it. And I just want to say thank you very much to all the models and the photographers. Thank you to Bryony for all her hard work, because she has worked hard. And thank you to Georgia for introducing us. So, you know, like a matchmaker.
So now being joined by Rosie at the But You Don't Look Autistic exhibition, who's been singing here today, 1975 as well.
Yeah,
nice,
love
awesome.
them.
Love them, yeah, absolutely. Tell me, what was it like being part of this exhibition, and how did you feel to have your photo and story shared so publicly?
It felt really nice to be a part of something so important and to know there's other people who have been told this phrase that's used so often, which is quite sad actually, because autism doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a look at all. But it was really nice to be a part of it, and I'm really honoured that I got to sing as well, which is something that helps me with my autism and soothing myself, like a stimming sort of thing, really. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here today.
And singing in Welsh as well.
Yeah, singing in Welsh.
Yeah, absolutely. So the title of the exhibition reflects something that many autistic people have heard now. Have you ever had the phrase said to you?
Yeah.
And how did it make you feel?
It made me feel really sad because it makes you feel like you're not autistic enough. But you don't look autistic. Do you know what I mean? There's something that shouldn't be said. There's no certain way you have to present to be autistic. There's no look for autism at all. It's not nice to be told that, and I don't like it. And when I get that comment, I instantly shut it down. I'm like, there's no look for autism at all.
Can you tell us a bit about the photo of you? Now, what do you feel it represents about your identity or your experience as an autistic person?
Yeah, I think the photo represents me very well because I'm playing guitar in it, which is something that helps my autism. So that I wanted to have my guitar in it because that's a part of me, and my autism is music, you know, like a hyperfixation. So yeah, I'm really happy with the photo.
So were there any parts of the creative or the interview process that help you reflect differently on your diagnosis or how you see yourself?
I think through doing this project, I've seen myself feel less alone, really, because I've noticed so many similar stories looking around and reading them today here. There's so many similarities between all of us that are there, and when you feel them on your own, you feel like you're the only person in the world dealing with them. But when you hear someone else say the exact same thing, it's such a relief. It's so nice to be a part of a community.
And I suppose being a girl is harder again, isn't it, with autism and
masking more, and
yeah.
because like it sounds bad, but like when I throw on my makeup and I put on all my outfits and I mask, people don't tend to see it because I'm masking so high. So when I do say, yeah, I am on the spectrum, they're like, but you don't look autistic. And I'm like, you just, you know, you just don't see it, you know, you just don't see when I'm having a meltdown or when I'm crying over public transport, those things. They're there and they're part of it.
What do you hope people will think or feel when they see your photo and read your story at this exhibition?
I hope that they will feel less alone, and I hope they feel the courage to explore that, because I know a lot of people struggle with the idea that they might be autistic and looking further into that, because sometimes there's a stigma around it that you're going to get treated differently. But honestly, it saved my life getting the diagnosis to know that I'm not alone.
One final question. What's one myth or misconception about autism that you'd love to bust? And what do you wish that more people understood instead?
I wish people understood everyone's different to being autistic. Some people get triggered by different things. Some people hyperfixate on different things. There's no one look, there's no one thing that is similar between every single autistic people. There might be a few, but not everything. Everyone's completely different.
Perfect. Rosie, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Together
Jade from Rewild Play. Now, the title of the exhibition, this journey's taken us from Torvine to the centre of Cardiff, isn't it? So, but the title then, But You Don't Look Autistic. Now, for people that don't really know, it is quite striking. Now, can you tell us about the meaning behind it and why that phrase?
It came about from a conversation between myself and my daughter. She was going for her autism assessment. She's only 12. She's going through that identity crisis at the moment and said, well, that doesn't make any sense, Mum. I'm not autistic. I just, I like nails, I like makeup. I just, I can't, I'm like really glam. And I said, well, what? I said, that doesn't, I said, well, I'm autistic, so what does it look like then? So that's how the conversation started, and then we elaborated the conversation whilst we were with a group of youngsters one day, and it was very interesting to see each of the viewpoints of what an autistic person might look like and behave like. They very much, even now in 2025, still had quite specific stereotypes in their head, bearing in mind that the majority of them are autistic. That's where it came about, and the further conversation with the young people about their futures. A lot of them are school avoiders, they don't go to school, they have issues with education. There are conversations at various points about their future and what that might look like. So the point was break down stereotypes and inspire. And the point was to get people from all walks of life, all different jobs, different interests, to get away from that stereotype that an autistic person has to be a certain way.
I suppose, it's like a stigma as well, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think,
yes.
as I described it, is the fact that it was used as a slur.
Yes.
And when you're talking about stereotypes, those stereotypes, they're not going to go away easily, but I suppose exhibitions like this are the way forward, aren't they?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, 2025, and a lot of those youngsters had a view in their head because I think they've been subjected to it even in school, in primary school, and like you said, it's used as an insult. So for my daughter, it was terrifying.
How does this exhibition challenge that stereotype and raise awareness in a new way?
Because we've put the photography exhibition primarily because we wanted to show autistic people in different guises. That sounds odd, but we've got in the exhibition doctors, musicians, athletes, people that work in managerial roles, people that work in construction roles, people that work in literally all paths of life. You've got a face to the bio, and to link those two together, I think, is quite powerful, because your primary school teacher, who looks what you would term, I don't know, your average 40-odd-year-old woman, is autistic.
Yeah, that's right.
Or we've got a nurse in the exhibition who works in a paediatric unit, and she's in her 60s and has worked there all her life, and she is autistic. And I look at her picture and I think, oh, she's just a really sweet lady.
What do you think, and what do you hope visitors will take from this exhibition here in Cardiff Library? Not just in terms of understanding autism, but in how they think about inclusion, empathy, and even identity.
I think phrases like, but you don't look autistic.
Exactly.
That's the very crux of what we want to get to, because a lot of the adults that are in the exhibition have actually experienced people saying those very words to them. It's really invalidating to be battling with your own feelings and your own identity, and then be presented with someone else's opinion that can't possibly be the case. So that is what we want people to take away, is to understand that people who are autistic are not, they could be anybody. And we use the analogy, well, similar to the analogy on the exhibition blurb about rather the spectrum line like a fruit salad bowl, you know, because you or I or any one of the models will say that, you know, one day you're fine, happy as Larry, and then something has overstimulated you, and the next day
And
you're
burn
not
out.
coping.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And you're really, really struggling to just interact with anybody. Nobody sees that. Nobody sees what goes on in other people's brains or behind other people's doors. And they see someone who's getting about their business, doing their job, but they don't see the effort that goes into just maintaining that.
One bonus question.
Oh, okay.
What one myth or misconception, if I could say it, easy for me to say, about autism that you'd love to bust?
Oh, I would say, speaking from my own personal experience, the idea that autistic people are introverts. We have, don't get me wrong, I have my days, I really do, where I struggle to, anyone talks to me, I'll be like, jittery. But I don't think, especially when you get us talking about something we're interested in or we're passionate about, or getting us involved with something that we love. I love music. That is like literally been my life since I was 8 years old. You grow up around music, the stage, performing, and that was a big part of what made me question that I can't possibly be autistic, because I like performing. You know, if we're autistic, then we have to sit in a quiet room and read books and play with trains. I don't know, all of the traditional stereotypes. I love a train, great. But I also like to perform and interact. It quite often comes at a cost, but I do it because I love that. So that is one of the myths I would say. You know, I know various performers who are autistic. So it doesn't mean that you can't be happy being on stage or in the limelight.
Jade, thanks for talking to us today, and we'll catch you up very soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
But You Don't Look Autistic. The launch in Cardiff is here till the end of August, and we'll definitely be catching up with Jade and the rest of Rewild play in due course.
If you'd like to be involved in the podcast, please message or voice note on WhatsApp. Our number is 07851 138 610. This is a podcast from Torvine Talks CIC.